Have you ever asked yourself, why is the enemy's Beatrix so bloody strong in the early game? The turtle hasn't even spawned yet, but she already deals an insane amount of damage. Maybe you also tried to exchange some blows, but the only thing that happened was that she rearranged your face. So you lost a precious minion wave, and you regret all the choices that you have made in your whole life. Okay, maybe not that. Still, you are silently cursing inside of your head and just want to beat up this pink-haired piece of shit. And surprise, surprise, you can do that. She is so strong because she knows something that you don't. Well, until now. Because after you have watched this whole video, you will never be beaten down again in the early game. Because you know how to use all the low-tier equipment to your advantage. Hello, my friends! The question of today is, who is your favorite ML waifu or husbando? If you find this question random, watch the whole video and find out why I asked it. We start with the physical equipments. And to not waste any time, let me first tell you which item you don't need to prioritize. Because you only really need them to upgrade them into your core items. And these items are Magic Blade, Legion Sword, Rove Meteor, Regular Spear, Iron Hunting Bow, and a small Javelin, Knife and Dagger item, of course. The first interesting item is item number 1, Fury Hammer. It costs 830 gold and it gives you plus 35 physical attack. And its unique attribute gives you plus 12 physical penetration. Physical penetration means you ignore 12 points of physical defense from your enemy when attacking. This is probably one of the best tier 2 items in the early game. It's cheap and gives you a high physical penetration bonus, since most heroes' base physical defense lies between 15 to 25. So it's a crucial item to make a successful gank from the get-go. I recommend this item to everyone as first item if you plan to get Blade of the ℵ or Hunter Strike. This item you can build after just 2 waves or a few jungle creeps, and your damage will be significantly higher, especially when you're using a hero like Brody or Beatrix. Item number 2 is Ogre Tomahawk. Or you pronounce it Ogre? I don't know. Ogre. In Deutsch ist das Ogre. It costs 790 gold and it gives you plus 30 physical attack, plus 230 HP, and its unique passive will increase your movement speed by 10% for 1.5 seconds whenever you make a basic attack. This effect has no cooldown, so if you use a hero like Jawhead as jungler, for example, it's great to chase down fleeing enemies since you are OP in the early game. Item number 3 is Vampire Mullet, and it gives you plus 8 physical attack and plus 8% physical lifesteal. This item is extremely useful for Ruby, because it will make you almost unkillable on the lane if you're not completely reckless. You never have to recall back to the base if you get 2 of these before you even get your boots. Next, let's talk about magic items. Again, first, the items that you don't need to prioritize are Magic Wand, Mystic Container, Book of Sages, Power Crystal, Mystery Codex, and Magic Necklace. Although you could use it for mana regen as your first item, but you could also get item number 1, Elegant Gem. It costs 700 gold and it gives you plus 300 HP and plus 380 mana. Its unique passive lets you regen 20% of your HP and mana within 2 seconds after you have leveled up. This item is great for any mage that aims to build Cloak of Destiny as core item. Prioritize Elegant Gem right away before even getting any boots. The passive will help you to regenerate a lot of HP and mana that has been used for clearing up minions. And it gives you the upper hand when you're trading damage with your counterpart, since you don't need to recall when leveling up. It's also, by the way, the most OP item for Brawl. Buy it in the beginning of the match regardless your role. It gives you a lot of sustain and heals you greatly every time you level up. And heal is the one thing that you really need in Brawl. Item number 2 is Exotic Veil. It costs 600 gold and gives you plus 30 magic power and plus 5% movement speed. If you're building Genius Wand, Shadow Twin Blades or Glowing Wand, I would advise you to prioritize this item instead of building 2 Mystery Codex. You get the same magic power for the same amount of gold, but also plus 5% movement speed. And this small amount could be the difference in between catching or missing an enemy. These small advantages really can make a huge difference, so don't just ignore them. Item number 3 is Azure Blade. It costs 600 gold and gives you plus 5 mana regen and plus 5% cooldown reduction. It has a pretty long unique passive text. In 3 seconds after using a skill, the caster's next basic attack will deal additional 50 true damage with a cooldown of 1.5 seconds. This item is perfect as first item for a hero like Clint, for example, who wants to poke his enemies with his enhanced basic attack. If you get this item as your first item, you will not deal an insane amount of extra damage, but 10 attacks means 500 extra true damage. That could be enough to make your enemy retreat back to their base and let them miss a minion wave. Again, these little advantages have a huge impact later on. So next time when you build Endless Battle, Calamity Reaper or Thunderbelt, prioritize this item first to benefit earlier from the extra true damage. Item number 4 is Tome of Evil. But to make it short, just like Exotic Veil, prioritize to upgrade this item first before buying the other items when you're aiming to build Enchanted Talisman. Its cost effectiveness is just too great, it's not efficient to buy another magic necklace and another book of sages first. If you could just upgrade your already existing codex and book into Tome of Evil, which only costs you 200 extra gold and gives you better stats. There's also the free Throw Forbidden item, which you can use when you have a troll jawhead in your team who throws you around instead of the enemy, but there's also the free Allow Throw item, in case your ally jawhead started his anime redemption arc. And lastly, we have the free Broken Heart item for Camilla. After purchasing, Cecilian will not be able to use Moonlit Waltz on you during this game. Buy this if you think this creepy glowing vampire dude is cheating on you, or when you're mad that he got more skins than you. Next, we have the defensive items. Once more, the items that don't need priority are Silence Rope, Arius Belt, Hero's Ring, Leather Jerkin, and Vitality Crystal. Item number 1 is Steel Eggplates. It costs 530 gold and it gives you plus 45 physical defense. Remember the Beatrix from the beginning of the video? If she's not trying to penetrate your ass with Fury Hammer, she's probably using this item to greatly reduce your physical damage. So if you ever thought, why is my PP damage so small? It's because this item is a great protector in the early game. Let's do some math. You deal 200 physical damage per hit, and Beatrix at level 2 got 20 base physical defense. When she has this item equipped, you deal 70 damage less because of her huge physical defense. It might sound small, but if you add this up to 5 hits, you only deal 650 damage instead of 1000. It's a huge amount for marksmen in the early game. I personally think it's the best first item for the gold laner right now, especially if your counterpart and the enemy's jungler are physical heroes. I highly recommend to buy this item first before buying anything else. Yes, even boots. They're useless anyway, because you barely roam around the map at the first 2 minutes. Buy Steel Eggplates instead, and do yourself a favor by not dying in ganks. It can also make your enemies miscalculate the damage, because they are not expecting that you're so bulky. Other roles like tanks, fighters and supports can also utilize this item, especially when you're aiming to buy Dominance Ice or Blade Armor. You can also just sell it later when you need the extra slot for better items. Item number 2 is Dreadnought Armor. It costs 730 gold and it gives you plus 40 physical defense. Its unique passive works like this. When you've been hit by an enemy's hero skill, you reduce their physical attack by 5% for 2 seconds, which can stack up to 3 stacks. So minus 15 physical attack in total. This is certainly not the cheapest item, considering the bonus attribute is smaller than Steel Eggplates, but if you're a marksman player for example, and the enemy's Natalia or Yin is up your ass non-stop, this item will be your lifesaver. They can't one-shot you in the early game anymore once you've got this item, and will start to think that Moonton Ghost nerfed their favorite hero. If you're aiming to build the big version Antique-Cuirass, you should also prioritize this item to have the small effect, until you have the bigger version. Item number 3 is Black Ice Shield. It costs 880 gold and gives you plus 400 mana, plus 22 physical defense, and plus 10% cooldown reduction. It's quite cheap considering the huge cooldown reduction bonus you get, but it only gives you a small physical defense bonus. Even if you're aiming to build Dominance Ice later on, you should just buy the Steel Eggplates first. The only exceptions are heroes like Hylos, who get extra HP for more mana, or if you desperately want some CD reduction early on. For example, for setup tanks like Tigreal or Atlas. Item number 4 is Molten Essence. It costs 800 gold and gives you plus 540 HP. And its unique passive deals every second magic damage to nearby heroes, equal to 0.8% of your hero's max HP. This damage is increased by 150% against minions. So if you're aiming to build Cursed Helmet, I would strongly suggest to prioritize this item first, since it helps you to clear the minion waves and jungle creeps faster. What means you can roam around the map faster and help your teammates taking objectives. Item number 5 is Healing Necklace. It costs 140 gold and gives you plus 4 HP regen. This is a good item for tanks and side laners in the early game. Consider buying it if there are a lot of skirmishes happening in the early game, since it can help you to regen some HP and avoid unnecessary recalls. Item number 6 is Magic Resist Cloak. It costs 220 gold and gives you plus 18 magic defense. This is the basic magic defense equipment and can be a useful and cheap item if the enemy's magic damage hero is up your ass non-stop. By the way, the waifu war is still on. My scriptwriter is ready for your hot take. May the best waifu win, which is my real life waifu. And after you're done ripping each other apart, check out my tier list with the best heroes right now. See you over there!